late start. We were trying to get YouTube to start up, but we were having technical difficulties. So, but unfortunately, we missed practice. But we're starting qualifying as of right now. I am your host, Predator, and alongside me, just like old times, we have S'mores. How you doing today, S'mores?
I'm doing pretty good, Bud. How about you?
Besides the fact that we had to start late because of YouTube, but it's good. It's doing good. It's doing good. We're here at the Kansas Speedway for the Truck Series, 250 miles. What a great racetrack this is. It has produced so many great races, not only for this league, but in NASCAR in general. A lot of people are going to be using that high lane today as we are on board with Weasel, driving that number 7 truck. A lot of people are going to use that high line, but with the tire compound that they have for this league, or this series, excuse me, they're going to wear those front tires out pretty quick, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I would assume so because the usual how the track works is apparently if you push the vehicle too hard, you'll burn your right front tire more. So many people will be trying to get up to that wall as quick as possible, trying to negate that tire wear as much as they can.
Absolutely. So it will be very interesting to see during the late runs who is going to try to stay at the top and negotiate that top lane, that preferred lane, with those worn out tires, and hopefully they can hold off the people that may have go 1 or even 2 lanes lower, trying to save their truck and go from there. So pretty decent field. We got some part-timers in here. We also have second place in points, Mr. Darth Kylo, driving the number 18 truck, as he's chasing down the regular season champion. That is the number 2. I'm not quite sure what his name is. I haven't really looked at and paid attention to the truck series, but the number 2 truck is the points leader. So how would you go into this race knowing that we're just a few months away, maybe a month and a half away, from the playoffs starting, and then on top of that, going from NASCAR Heat 4 to Heat 5?
I would just not focus on the points battle right now because, excuse me, yeah, you'll get extra playoff points from finishing first rather than second in the regular season championship. But right now is currently not the time to be stressing over points right now. I just want to get some consistency, get some good finishes, try to beat the other competitors out on the track. And going into Heat 5, from what I heard, it's going to be basically the same as Heat 4, so that's just a little better. But basically, whatever you learn from Heat 4, I guess you could take it to Heat 5 and try to do work from that as well.
Well, I'm one of those drivers that have not learned anything from Heat 4 besides the fact that I'm loose every 10 laps. So, it's going to be a struggle for me, and I'm sure that there's a bunch of people that are in the same boat as me. I know a lot of people like Incog, who is driving tonight in the number 19 truck. He actually prefers Heat 4 more than Heat 3, where I disagree. I prefer Heat 3 over Heat 4. So it's a very fun debate to see who likes what video game. I'm hoping Heat 5 isn't as brutal on tire wear, but we'll see when this happens, as we're still on board with the number 18 truck of Darth Kylo. He won a couple weeks ago. I believe he won at Kentucky a few weeks ago. So driving for the KBM boys. KBM having a rough season so far, having a strain of bad luck. But how about GMS? GMS always a great team. They always find the right drivers for the right cars for the right tracks. Whenever GMS is in first, you know that they're going to try to make it to the Final Four and win the championship.
I'll disagree with that.
You just think GMS will not make it?
No, I'm saying that GMS will make it to the Final Four with the 2 truck. I'm just agreeing with what you were saying.
Okay, I thought you said disagree. My bad. Mine Killer, that's his name. Mine Killer is the number 2 truck. I want to say Mine something. I knew it was Mine, but it looks like they are wrapping up. Yep, they just finished qualifying. We're going to stay here for a minute or two since we did miss practice, talk a little bit about the track, talk about the series, talk about whatever we need to talk about that we missed in practice. So, obviously, we talked about the idling, how beneficial it is, how much speed you get off, and a lot of people, like we said, are going to try to make it to the top as quickly as possible, kind of like a play track. You want to try to get to either the top or the bottom. Most people prefer the bottom, but you have those guys that like to roll the dice and make the top lane work. So when restarts happen, do you think the leader's going to choose the inside or are you going to choose the outside? Because you can't use the apron on the first lap.
Yep, that's exactly right. Personally, I think people will take the inside lane because the bottom will only work in 1 and 2 on the restart. I feel like, but once we get up to speed heading into turn 3, you will see people go up to the middle near the wall. So basically, the only time the bottom will work is on the restart.
Absolutely, and ignore that toy that I want to completely throw away. My dog likes to play with it. At first he was afraid of it, and now all he wants to do is play with it. So, but interesting field. We got the 12 of the weekend hobby 22 Mine Killer, who is, like I said, your points leader, driving that number 2 GMS car. 4 of Conlax, who recently just joined KBM in that beautiful 4 truck. Darth Kyla, who's sitting second in points, not too far back from first place. Sheepy Pie in the 44. David Weasel with a Z, I should say. Driving that 7 truck. He's part-time and he's a Cup driver. Ryan Guy coming down from the Xfinity Series. I think he has a triple header this week. Coming down and driving that 22 truck. And then, like we said, Incog Kill Shot, Anthony Peter, driving that number 19 Monster Energy truck. Beautiful car. 88 of Smoothie Mix 9. And back to weekend hobby. So we got some part-timers in here. A lot of people, including myself, I don't really like part-timers. I don't really like subs. I rather have your driver, if you're driving for the series, drive for the series. Don't come down, don't go up, whatever. I'm the same way. I don't really like to go up to Cup. Only certain occasions, like the 500 or the 600, but you don't really see me saying, hey, I'm going to show up to a Kansas Speedway race, or I'm going to show up to a Martinsville race. But what is your opinion on drivers from like the Cup Series coming down to the Truck Series to just race to race?
Personally, it would depend on what part of the season it is, because my personal opinion, the only time I would not allow part-timers is during the playoffs, because that's just first of all, it takes up spots on the field, and whatever chances that driver might have making it to the next round of the playoffs, it'll interrupt it. So, for me, I would like part-timers, depending on the series, but the only time I would not allow part-timers is during the playoffs. Because that just hinders it. That just because teams could shake it up a little bit, like interfere in the championship battle, something like that. That's just my opinion.
I can respect that. I agree with that. I rather have guys come in and race to race, because at the same time, you're trying to gain more speed. So if you have a guy like Incog coming down, or Smoke who's coming down, or even Austin Johnston coming down, you have people that are trying to get faster. So I can respect that. But at the same time, I respect the playoff situation where let the playoff drivers race. But we're just getting word that Anthony Peter, driving number 19, scored the fastest lap with a 31.840. And how about this? The number 2 of Michael Fox is starting second with a 31.851, and right behind him, that guy that's trying to get that first place in points, Ryan Harp in the 18 truck, starting third with a 31.868. So what do you think getting Incog in here and talking to him for a bit?
Yeah, let's see if we can get him in. How can I invite the drivers in
here? Yeah, I forgot that I can't. That I have it. I might have to. I don't want to. Would it mess up if I leave and have you as the host?
Yeah, I think if you leave, it'll cancel the game. Like it'll just automatically turn it off.
Yeah, I might do that after we're done with this stream. Before the race, I'll just go ahead and leave, and so therefore you can invite and go from there. So we'll get.
Apparently, I can only suggest step players.
Yeah.
So you'll have to do it anyway.
Yeah. So I went ahead and invited him anyway. Try to get him in here, get his thoughts on the race, and then hopefully we can get a couple more interviews in before the race, get people's mindsets, and go from there. So, Anthony Peter driving that number 19 truck. What a beautiful truck that is. Just because it's Monster. I love Monster. I'm not Kyle, by the way. I'm so, you know, stereotypes, drinking Monster, punching holes in walls. So.
Okay, moving on.
Right. All right. I can give it a few more minutes. Hopefully he can join. If not, we'll get Mind Killer in here. Have him get an interview. All right. It doesn't look like he can join, so we're gonna go ahead, invite. Mind Killer in here. Right, get the truck of Mind Killer. That's an awesome paint scheme too. I like that.
Alright.
And there's Mind Killer. Mind Killer, how's it going, man? You're currently the points leader in the truck series. You qualified second for the Kansas race. But right behind you, the guy that's been battling you week in and week out, the 18 truck of Ryan Harp. What is your mindset going into this race? Obviously trying to get as much points and even possibly getting another win.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get as much points as possible, you know, trying to finish in front of, you know, at least Darth Kylo, you know, to pull away from him points. And I mean, looking at the lap times, I mean, I feel like that this might be a remake of Kentucky. You know, me, Incog, and Darth Kylo.
Absolutely.
I mean, I feel that it might end up that way. You know, just looking at the lap times, I mean, we're both pretty fast. We're all pretty fast, you know, 31.800s. I felt like that I actually had a good lap time to, you know, hopefully get a pole, but actually I just managed to just only get in the front row, which is second place.
Yeah, I mean, you all three of you were underneath a blanket, and which doesn't surprise me on how the three of you have been racing, like you said with Kentucky. Me and S'mores, we were talking about how a lot of people are going to prefer that high lane, and how that's going to play out. What is your strategy going into the long runs? You know, your truck is going to get loose, the tires are going to get worn out. What is your plan? Are you going to try to stay up high and prefer that high lane, or are you going to try to work down low and see if something can work down there?
From what I know, the high lane is the better way. If you run the low, you're gonna. From what I know, you're gonna run down your tires, and I believe that the high lane is going to be the most preferred line. Trying to pass in the middle, it's going to be real tough on doing that. The strategy is I was doing practice runs. I wasn't really feeling loose at all. It was more or less feeling tight. I mean that just basically depends on how much you use your tires. I mean, I wasn't really during the practice run. I wasn't feeling loose at all. So I mean, I feel good. You know, just I'm gonna do what I can to stay to the right up there by the wall, but just hopefully not hit it. Because if you hit the wall, you're gonna lose a lot of speed and you're just gonna lose it.
All right, Smart, do you have anything?
You basically asked all my questions basically. At that point, so no, I'm good.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Well, good luck today.
Questions.
Good luck today. Hopefully, you can walk away in victory lane.
Yeah. Hopefully, I can.
All right. Good luck out there.
All right.
Yep.
Thank you.
All right, Mind Killer, and thank you for joining us. So we're about to get into. We're about 5 minutes away from the drivers' meeting. So I'm not quite sure. Actually, we just got the race invite. So we're gonna end it here. Get everything set up for the race, and next stream we'll have the race for you. 250 miles here at the Kansas Speedway. Who's gonna be following that yellow brick road, as they like to say?